Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell's Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
That was that cat, all right. Yes, Mr. Basketball
Hello.
here. The Basketball Encyclopedia, Jerry Reynolds, and I'm no one of consequence, Kevin Michael Whitey Gleason. Before we get to last night's very eventful Warriors-Kings contest, did you know, Phantom, that Jerry was declared on a Kings broadcast recently the Basketball Encyclopedia? Katie Christensen referred to him as the
Congratulations.
Basketball Encyclopedia.
I think it fits. I definitely do.
Well, some encyclopedias are, out of.
Well, they don't do encyclopedias anymore at all.
Yeah.
It used to be door to door, but now you had nothing. So,
Yeah, so what was relevant in 1950 isn't necessarily relevant now.
if you were basketball Google, that would be different.
I know a lot of stuff that nobody cares about or ever will care about. Let's put it that way.
As
That's why
Mrs.
we're
Reynolds
here.
always tells us, yes, that's
the
exactly right.
whole point of
Yes.
this. Also, in that same telecast, Phantom, it was that amazing Kings win over Orlando in overtime.
Oh, incredible.
I thought of you, and I mentioned this to Jer. I don't know if Jer caught it. I'm wondering if you caught it. At one point, first half, I think maybe it was second half, Sabonis gets the ball at the elbow, and he kind of makes a half hook, kind of a, dare I say, almost a swooping move to the basket in a way.
Okay.
And Kyle Draper said, "He looks like Connie Hawkins." And I thought, oh, man, I hope Phantom didn't hear that. Did you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, no, I did
If
not.
you didn't know
catch
about that, I'd rather you hear it from me than out on the
I'm glad
street
you told me.
somewhere.
I didn't want to hear it from anybody else. I'm glad you told me that. Who was it that he said looked like Connie Hawkins?
It would be Domantas Sabonis.
Sabonis. Okay, Sabonis.
You've thought that a lot, haven't you?
Fantastic lineage, yes, of course, with dad and everything. One of the greats. But I didn't see that. I used to back in the day. I used to think that about Otis Thorpe once in a while. That was my guy. Otis Thorpe would swoop a little bit.
Well, that's a little closer.
And I used to call up after the games. We'd go home after the game and call up. I think it was Dave Grosby at the time that was doing it.
Yeah.
And I'd say, "You think Otis Thorpe could be another Connie Hawkins?" And he went, "No." And he went to the next caller. But I used to call him about that anyway. But thank you for breaking that to me.
Sure.
Because I don't see it. Maybe it's me.
Jerry said-
basketball Google.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, Jerry said, I wouldn't tell him. And we went back and forth, and I thought,
wow. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
thought I
Yeah.
better let you know. I'd rather you hear
It's like
it
when
from me.
somebody compares somebody to Oscar Robertson, and you kind of take umbrage at that fact.
Yeah, it's like, is Andre Miller Oscar Robertson? It's like, no, he's really not.
That's the way I'm going to try
Yeah.
to respond. No, he's not.
Well,
No,
we're
he's
going to
really
get
not.
to this whole Luka Wilt comparison in just a moment. But first,
God, wait a minute.
have you guys ever heard Basketball Encyclopedia and Mr. Basketball? Do you know who Pat Frayer is, or Natalie Sego, or Matt Kaleo?
I know Pat
Obviously-
Frayer because
okay.
You
the,
don't.
the lead official from last night.
Yeah. Did you ever?
Lead official from last night?
Yeah. My point is, when you have, and it was a great day to be an NBA fan, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
have 15 games. It was amazing.
Every
But-
15 minutes.
Yeah, but when you have 15 games, that means that you're not going to be able to put your
see where
top
his point-
officiating
yeah,
crew,
yeah.
Jer, at each of those games. Am I right? Was that maybe a factor last night?
So are you saying that wasn't the top officiating crew?
And that was 43 through 45, I think,
My
on the list.
goodness, I pray it wasn't. Because
Sadly,
yeah,
this is probably upset you even more. My guess is that's about the middle of the pack one.
wow. Okay, you're
Because Pat Frayer is really
yeah,
he'll referee a lot of playoff series.
yeah. Okay,
So
I thought, and not
I thought they had a bad game.
on both sides, right?
Both sides,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they missed a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
And,
you don't see Steph Curry do that when he went off and just yells. Which, by the way, I mean, there was a time when you get thrown out for that, right? When you go up
Or
to
if
the
you were a
official-
different person
yeah,
and not Steph
yeah,
Curry.
yeah.
Yes.
But I don't know where to start, Phantom. I guess we
And
start with the fact, yeah.
And I thought, by the way, that was a good call against Curry. I mean, he
I
created
did
all
too
the
on that.
contact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
I
come
did
on,
too.
Steph,
Yeah.
you're begging there.
Yeah, but I thought that you could make the case that maybe Clay fouled Herter.
Well, you could make the case, and it would be a case with so much evidence to back it up.
Yeah.
that it would not be. You would win that case.
A
Let's
case
put it that way.
with
yes,
ample video evidence.
yes,
in fact.
Right.
Video,
right.
witnesses. Everybody
Yeah.
was right there. They could see it, and that's the thing that we've talked about since years and years, 20 years ago. We know you're not going to make every call. I mean, referees, it's a very tough game. We know that. Just make the ones that are right in front of you that you're looking directly at that impact the end of the game.
Yes.
That's all you got to do.
And
just don't miss that one.
It was almost as amazing to me they didn't make that call as the fact that Klay Thompson did it for the second time.
Yes.
He fouled a three-point shooter, and especially one in that situation where you can't do that.
Yeah. And didn't
he
he
did
foul
it.
him at least twice on that play?
Some say 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 2.5
But
over
I'm
under.
serious.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
he
he did.
went under him and he hit him.
Hands were already on
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's right in front of you, and he violated 3 precepts of
Right.
the rules, and you still don't blow the whistle. Is it end of the game swallowed? I don't know what it is, but and what Tyler Hero travels right in front of the referee. You're looking right at it. You missed that one too.
I didn't see it either.
I didn't either. To be honest, and I know Kings fans are, this is terrible. That Hero play, I didn't notice it at the time. I had to go back and watch the replay, and it wasn't until, to be honest, like the third time I watched it, I said, oh, yeah, he did travel.
Yeah, that's with me. I think, and my excuse is that they let him get by with it so much.
Jerry, you don't need an excuse. You're
No,
the
I
basketball
do.
encyclopedia.
I mean,
Google.
I've watched for years James Harden take 5 little steps, hippity hop backwards.
That's the thing.
And so if that's not traveled, and then Tyler Hero, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you schooled me on that several years ago on the James Harden move, which I
the
said,
gather
how come
and-
the guy can pump fake and then jump to his left and then shoot it and it's okay? And he said, well, that's the rule. Now, that was just a little slight exaggeration of that rule, but he did move
No,
both
it's still
of
travel.
He
I know.
did take both of his
Yeah.
feet from one place and move
Yes.
them to another
Yes, he
place.
did. It
you
is,
really
yeah.
aren't supposed to do that.
I'm just,
Right.
to me, the play last night was egregious and obvious. And
Yeah.
that play, to me, the Hero travel, he traveled, but I didn't see it at the
In
time.
the course of play, I guess that would be an easier one to just not call. The Hero one.
Yeah.
And when there's a foul obviously committed by somebody against somebody else right in front of you, then you got to make that play.
I don't know if you guys watched any of the Clippers and the Cavs, which they finished after that, but right after that, I turned on that game, and Paul George late in the game, he was shooting a 3, and he got fouled. Very similar,
Yep.
but not, and they called that. So I don't know, Jerry, you obviously coached in the league. Mike Brown
Really?
is banging that drum now on, when you're the Kings, you don't get these calls. Does he have to do that? He may be right. Is he accomplishing anything by doing that?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think he's hurting anything. I don't blame him. I think, go ahead. I mean, put it out there. I don't know that it's necessarily true for sure. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of teams that would, in different levels. I think certainly I do believe that the top teams with the top stars get more breaks. I think referees are human. They know who the stars are. I know Kings got a lot of breaks when they were among the best teams in the league.
Yeah, Game 6 is on the phone, but you're right. You're
But
right.
I mean,
hey.
But that was against another one.
Yeah.
See,
That
so
was
they'll,
against a
they'll
more
make their
famous
choice.
team.
But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're playing I would say the Vancouver Grizzlies, I always remember that game when they were just out playing the Kings and they were terrible, but they earned a win, and the referees just basically, come on, guys,
You're the Grizzlies.
you're the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Good game. Now
Yeah.
going home.
Yeah.
Now, would that one have been not called because it's the Warriors or because it's Klay, or does that stack up on each other? It's Klay and the Warriors, so obviously it's not a foul, and it's in their building.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, really, I just agree with Coach Brown. I think he probably did the right thing. You know, it's
I
like
do
it's
too.
not. If nothing else, it lets his team know that our coach realized we're getting some bad calls. Bad calls, will happen. I saw in the Orlando game or maybe another game where they said they missed 5 calls in the last 2 minutes and three were against Orlando. So,
Yeah.
so
And again, that's great that they have that report to tell us that, because that's just
it's like
it helps everybody.
Here's the thing: I'm pretty sure is going to happen. They'll have the 2-minute report, and they'll come out and say, what they need to do is really, if they want to have some credibility. And I've thought about this. I don't think about it a lot, but I thought about this. Is that
He's never said that about you, as far as you know.
well, and he'd be right. But I said, they ought to have a report to come out and say, in the last 2 minutes, boy, the referees really sucked.
And that's the end of the
Yeah,
report?
that's the end of the report.
I would love that report. I put
think-
that on the refrigerator.
Yeah, they should call it how
Yeah.
much the referees sucked
Yes.
report.
Yeah. Yes.
And sometimes
7
they
out of
sucked
10.
a lot.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't suck as much this time. Jerry also has a great idea that when it comes to listing players who are not playing, Jerry said, what's your idea for that?
Well, I just reading Hoops Hype. I love to read Hoops Hype
Yes.
every morning, and they always have a list of guys that are out. That's a huge list.
That's a very long list because of
And
load
my
management.
thought is, and I run it by Whitey because I respect his opinion to some degree, and
I'll take it.
and anyway, I said, what they need is a list of guys who actually may play.
Says it
Saves
to be-
time.
to be
Yeah.
shorter.
Just saves
No,
everybody time.
you don't need to have the ones who ain't gonna play because we know most
These are
of
the
them
guys
aren't.
you might see if you
Yeah.
go.
If you go to a game, you might see this guy, and you might see this
You
guy.
tune in, you might be able to watch this guy.
Yeah.
That's important information.
Yeah.
Don't
So-
tell me what I'm not getting.
So buy your $200 tickets, and you might see this guy.
And there'll be some guys just on the no-fly list like Kawhi.
Yeah.
You're never going to see him.
No. Now,
Don't ever buy a ticket.
And then we'll show you a picture of say, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, hey.
And because he is one of the greatest players. Back
Rumor
back-
has it.
Back in 220.
No, that's a great idea, Jerry.
Yeah. So those are two fine ideas.
Yes.
How
The-
much
the
the
may
refs
play-
suck
the
report
may play list.
and the who's might play list.
I
yeah.
love it.
You being an original Kings season ticket
Yes.
holder, is there something to this notion that the Kings are always getting screwed? Yeah, go Mike Brown for standing up for
Well,
us.
I like Mike Brown for standing up for it because I think he's finally just kind of like had enough, like us old men do. Okay, once in a while we'll take something, but when you do it 3 or 4 times in a row, we're going to go ahead and we're going to stand up. I don't think the Kings have anything against the Kings. I think it's partially
officials, you mean?
Partially, partially what Jerry said as far as like the Glamour team. If anybody's going to get the break, it's the Glamour team, and we've rarely been the Glamour team, so that's the way it's going to work out. But I think Mike Brown did the right thing. You got to stand up and at least draw attention, and
It might help, but
and
it
let
can't
people,
hurt,
and
really,
also
right?
let your team know that you're standing up for your team. Let Kevin Herter know that, hey, somebody saw that I got punched in the face 3 times, stuff like that. So I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, I always remember I got a technical once against the Lakers down in the old Forum, and I, it was one of those typical games. I mean, we were playing.
They're
playing
ripping us off, yeah.
Yeah, we were playing them pretty close because they just weren't taking it serious yet. But Magic came down and basically made a bad play, I think, and basically thought he was fouled. Well, they didn't call anything for
Initially.
And then I guess they thought about it a while. Said, "Yep, okay, Magic. Magic was fouled." I said, "Well, just give him a damn whistle. It'll help. It'll speed the game up."
How much time between the foul that he thought was committed and the time that it was called?
It was. I swear, it seemed like 5-10 seconds.
Just give him a whistle,
Just-
and that got you teed
Your
up.
suggestion was not appreciated.
No, you should
Not
have
by
put
the
it-
official. Actually, Magic got a kick out of it. Because I always
thought it was a great
Yeah,
idea.
he turned and said, "Yeah."
Him and Larry carried him from then on, and then Michael got his. Yeah,
But that was kind of that deal, and it's like, well, okay, but it's like I understand, and it's kind of like one of those deals too. It wasn't that game, but as a young coach, and when I was coaching, and it was against the Lakers, and there's Pat Riley, and I mean, I'm trying to get the attention of the officials.
Okay.
Like, oh,
Respectfully,
come here.
very
What
respectfully.
about this? And all of a sudden there's Riley on the other end of the court, just like
He did. He pulled a phantom.
and I mean 2 of them just running.
that's
like,
exactly what I did.
like they're damn puppies,
Yeah.
I
like
said,
he
and then
did
you're
when
like,
he was the
hey,
assistant
hey,
coach.
hey, yeah.
So I thought to myself, I said, "Self, this ain't gonna work for you."
No, it's not working for you at all. No,
The odds are against you.
No.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great if you're going to get a technical, that's a great technical.
That was
to get.
worth
You know,
it.
I mean,
It
yeah.
wasn't-
Get,
well,
get
it
a
wa-
chuckle out of people.
Well, yeah,
feel
but-
good about it inside.
Oh yeah, that's all.
and it
those
made the
things.
difference. It didn't wake up your team, and then you came back and won the game. Isn't that what you did?
It didn't wake them up, and we didn't win, and but it didn't hurt us, and it didn't have anything.
There you go. So,
it had nothing to do with the outcome.
Yeah. Those Laker teams, we all remember, like all great teams, late in the game, maybe they'd be playing a team like your Kings and wouldn't take it seriously. And then at the end, Magic used to call it winning time. And great teams can do that. That, to me, I think is one of the things that going on that's alarming with the Warriors. They get to the end of a game. And they won last night, I know, with some help. They had the Orlando game a couple nights ago. 7.5 minutes left. Kerr puts the starters in like, all right, we need this one because we're resting everybody tomorrow, and they lose. So right now, even though the starters are playing well, that team, they don't look like – this is not the team that won a championship last year. This Warrior team is not a quote-unquote championship team.
There'll be no rings on their fingers for this year at the present rate.
Right.
I mean, because the bench certainly gives them no help. And actually, I'm going out on a limb here. I mean, really, other than Steph Curry, Curry is just a one-man winning machine, and he can't do that every night.
No,
nobody
not
can.
Sustainable.
As great as he is, and certainly one of the all-time greats, but I mean, to me, and I hope I'm wrong here, but Clay just is not Clay, and you hope he can get back. And Draymond is not. The guys they're counting on, and Jordan Poole has not.
Nope.
Has not been Jordan Poole. So we're talking coming over, and I really believe let's say you take De'Aaron Fox off the Kings, you take Curry off the Warriors,
okay,
and I'm saying the Kings have more talent.
They may right now. The thing about Clay that's disturbing, Clay right now, not only is he struggling, physically, but he's doing dumb things. He's not playing smart basketball.
What was he, 6 of 18 from last night, something like that? I think
forcing shots.
Yeah, usually a guy of that caliber, that doesn't get. You're a shooter, and you're going to have nights like that. But now that's more his game, and also they're getting nothing from the bench. I think the Wiseman experiment seems to have gone a little haywire as far as now they're going to bring in Kuminga and take some of his minutes.
Well, they tried that, but then that didn't work either.
So we talked about it, I think, a couple of shows ago as far as the guys that you don't talk about much that aren't there anymore, how important they were, and that bench now is just not ready to step in and be a bench on a championship caliber team.
No, and I think two things that we kind of tend to forget about, or at least I did till watching last night, is that used to be, Klay Thompson was a great defender. Draymond Green was a great defender.
Absolutely.
They're not now. They're not. Malik Monk just torched Klay on a few things. Now, that's not the same.
Yeah, that's a weird sentence you just said.
I know.
Yeah. Malik Monk just torched Clay.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah,
you
did
did
I
too.
take your word for it. No, I know it's true.
Yeah.
And then those two guys' defense was kind of the hidden thing that team was.
Yeah,
known
for star-type guys,
it
they
was
were
Curry and Thompson and everything, but the defense is what really brought that.
Yep.
And if those two guys aren't bringing it defensively, then they're really the whole gone.
Clay stopped guys. He was a stopper. You could put him on a small forward or a big guard, and the Devin Bookers of the world, and it's going to be tough. Tough for them to have big games. And, obviously that's all part of the physical issues. He's clearly not, you notice it in his shot to where we were talking about. It's like, used to be Clay. My God, the ball was away before a defender could react. And every shot looked wide open. Now no shots look wide open.
He's trying to fiddle with it before he lets it go and everything.
The Warriors have had this two timeline thing, like a Christopher Nolan movie going, where they had their great veterans, right, with the championship pedigree, and then, all right, at some point those guys are going to get older. They're getting older, and so the plan was, all right, we got Kuminga. A team as good as we don't normally pick that out. We got Kuminga. We got Wiseman. Poole looks like we got to find there. So just as our stars start to wane, that's okay. We're going to have our next core. But right now, it's turning into a train wreck because Wiseman is almost literally unplayable. Kuminga is struggling mightily. And Poole right now, at least has proven he can do it, but he's not doing it now. So I don't think they may have to change plans if they want to accomplish anything this year, because that bench, as you said, there is a drastic drop-off when they go to the reserves.
Yeah, like you said, it's easy to kind of show things when you're not expected to with the young guys. When they're not, I don't expect anything out of the young guys. Well, look at what they're doing. That's fantastic. But when all of a sudden that's what you're supposed to do, you have a responsibility to do that, and it becomes a much different thing, mentally as well as physically. And I think that's what is affecting them. And then as we talk about the guys who are always get it done, aren't getting it done? So there's one guy getting it done, and maybe Wiggins, some of the time as well.
Yeah, Wiggins is very good. Yeah, Wiggins is very good. And there's two guys playing at the level or above where you'd expect, and 5 or 6 playing below.
Last year, everybody on the team early in the year played well. Everybody. They'd throw guys like Quindary Weatherspoon out there. It's like, wow, he played well. And right now, they're having a hard time finding people.
I know one thing I'd do if I were the Warriors. I'd say, Andre, get healthy. Get a uniform on, and we'll see if you can play. Or
Yeah.
we don't need you as a cheerleader anymore.
Yeah, either play or kind of become an assistant coach. or
Yeah,
something,
whatever,
we
but-
Because we
can't rely
could
on
use
you.
that spot
Yeah,
if you're not going to give us
exactly.
anything.
Yeah. And keep Steph. I'd keep Steph too if I'm the Warriors.
That's
That's the second thing I do. I do what you said, but I'd also keep Steph
I'd
because I'm a pretty good GM.
everything you do based on what Steph wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, this is not easy for me, Jerry. I have to apologize to Phantom about something that happened on this show.
I don't know if I want
Speaking
it.
of his basketball acumen, it was weeks ago. This was during the summer. We were talking about, hey, who are some teams that are going to overachieve, maybe do better than their one loss, the totals, the over-unders. And you mentioned Indiana. And I remember saying,
Pacers.
that's cute and everything, and I love Halliburton, but I don't think they're really going to try to win this year. I think they're going to tank. And what are they now, 5-5? They're really playing well. So my apologies to you, sir.
Well, very early, so thank you. I'll accept them conditionally. But secondly, how many of these tanking teams are doing well? How many teams that we said Utah, we already had them getting old Vic, and what are they 8-3 now? So there are several of those teams, and I think that's what makes it a lot of fun to watch. All of a sudden, Halliburton, Matherin, Buddy Hield, and these guys are coming out, and all of a sudden they're respectable. That makes it a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Well,
And your apology accepted. Thank
Okay,
you very
thank
much.
you.
I'll
Yeah.
take it now because I want to take it before they go on a 7-game losing streak and end up 5-12.
But they have played well. I've watched them quite a bit, and then, like I say, Halliburton's playing real well. And but Matherin has been really one of the very best rookies. No question, he wasn't real good last night, but
Right.
but he has been. And then Miles Turner is actually back, and he actually had a huge game.
37 and 12.
And I read where he really loves Indiana. And
After
wouldn't he?
Yeah, after that game. Yeah, I got the ball a bunch of times and I had 37.
for 2 straight years, not so much look now.
Didn't he recently say, hey, if I was the Lakers, I'd trade for us? Didn't he say
Yeah,
that?
he did. He did. He colluded himself, which I don't even know how you do that, but he's going to be fined for colluding on himself.
Yeah.
Well, he's right, though. I mean,
Well, yeah.
it's certainly, if you're the Lakers, you'd like to have him and Buddy Hield. You don't have anything to give them. That's
Right.
the problem.
Right.
You know?
Because you don't want to trade Russ now as one
Not
of your best
Russ.
players.
Russ is our best guy. LeBron
Yeah.
missed the game. Anthony Davis, who knows about Anthony Davis? And all of a sudden, Westbrook off the bench. That's your number one commodity. That's fantastic.
Yeah. We were talking about some comps earlier in the show, and I said we'd get back to this Luka thing. Luka, as you know, Luka is not my favorite, and I realize that's a really difficult position to hold right now, but he's just so ball dominant. When I used to play, I didn't like the guys that always had the ball and wouldn't share it.
'Cause it was
I know
never
he's a
you.
good passer,
Yeah.
but so I understand that it's a little my bias here. He's playing great, but this comp here between he and Wilt, because Luka had 30 again last night, 30-plus, so that's 9 straight games with 30 or more points, and that's the second longest streak ever. The first is Wilton Norman Chamberlain, who had 23 straight in 1962. So am I to take it that, all right, Luka, Wilt Chamberlain, boom, there we go.
No, but it's always great when there's any kind of scoring record set or matched because they always go, well, James Harden had 30 plus in 211 games. That's the record. Oh wait, Wilt had 1 million. So I always like to see those because they always have all the players and then they have Wilt up here. But I mean,
look, and I
Johnson,
know Luka's playing phenomenal.
Yeah,
I know that,
and
He's
the
playing
Mavericks
great.
are winning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously that's the key. And 30 plus to start a season, nine games in a row. It's pretty good, but it's not Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
But I love these whole things that bring Wilt Chamberlain's name back into the fore because he's almost like a Paul Bunyan. I mean, it's a legend. People don't know what he did isn't real, but it was real.
Yeah, no, they're. I mean, he's so far above whoever's number 2 in everything. It's just when you can average in your second year in the league 50 points a game.
Yeah.
that's what he did.
Yeah. And pull
Kids.
down
That's
25 more.
average.
Average
25
25 rebounds.
So he can score 50, and his average went down, right?
He only had 48. Miles Turner, 37-12. What night? What happened? Did you sit out the fourth quarter, Wilt?
He averaged 37.6 as a rookie.
Yeah, 30. Yeah,
Okay, kiddies out there, 37.6.
it's 37 and 28 or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't have liked him either because he tended to shoot a lot.
Yeah,
But
well, he
he
did.
tended to be a little ball
Yeah.
dominant.
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
there when
Yeah.
he got it
he
locked
would
down
literally
low.
hold it above everybody's head, and they would jump up and try
Yeah.
to get it. And
See, I can remember Wilt when he was later on when he was all defense.
Mr.
on those
Assist,
great
too.
Laker teams.
They
Yeah,
led the
assist.
league in assists.
Yeah. Well, here, 1962-63, Wilt scored 30 or more 23 straight games.
To start the season.
Yeah. Luka now has the second longest streak.
Right.
So here were Wilt's numbers, his totals in those games. 56, 50, 46, 53 points. Then he goes for 59, 44, and it's like 44. That sucks. So he scores 72.
Yeah. Take that.
38 and 54. So those were his first 9 games, 1962.
You'll see, here's the deal. Now, if they wanted, of course, they're always looking for ways of making comparisons that make no sense.
Right,
yeah.
This is one of them. It's
Yeah.
like,
Nice
okay,
going.
how many 40-point games has Luka and Wilt had in the first? Well, then you'd have.
Then you go up
Yeah.
to 45, and then you
And
start.
the other guy would have 2.
Yeah, how many
and-
60-point games
Yeah.
did you have? Well, I had 3 dozen. Thank you very much.
Well, they
Yeah.
always show, like all the people who've scored over 60 points sometimes. You see
Yeah.
it. And it's nothing but pictures of Wilt. And then there'll be an Elgin. There'll be a Maravich.
Yeah,
There'll be a Kobe, a Bird or something, or Jordan. But, I mean, they're like one head of them and like 15 or 20 of Wilt.
It'll be 2 or 3 of those guys. They'll go, well,
Yeah.
Jordan did it twice, and he did it 3 times. Did 4 times. He did it 27.
Yeah.
It's that kind of numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say, bottom line, I guess, to your point, Phantom, anytime you do anything where people say, hey, that is almost Wilt Chamberlain-like, then
First
tip
of
the
all,
cap to
first
you.
of all,
Yeah.
they're wrong because it's
Yeah.
not.
Well, but
secondly, tip of the cap. Yes.
Yeah, tip of the cap to. I know you guys
LD.
are bigger Luka fans than I am, but
I'm
I
getting a
know
bit-
I'm wrong on that.
Well, you are,
Yeah.
clearly. And
I'm in the middle. I'm
it's
between
actually
you two guys.
really hurting your credibility at this stage.
Yeah.
But,
Which is almost nil anyway.
Yeah,
So I think,
so-
why
so it
worry?
doesn't really hurt
Why
it.
fret about that? Yeah, that's something that's gone.
No.
Yeah.
No, the guy is playing better. I mean, he looks
Shoot
better.
way over 50% for him.
A lot
He's
more
gotten
selective
better.
in his shooting, and it's not like he's an old guy. I
Yeah,
mean,
what is he, like 19 now?
24.
Didn't he come in the league when he was 12 or
yeah,
something?
23 or 4. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
he's made nice progression. So, there's no reason to believe, in my mind, I'd compare him to Oscar Robertson, who I always considered the greatest all-around guard and ball dominant, very
Yeah.
ball dominant
Very
in
much
his
so.
early years.
On those Royals teams you had to.
Yeah,
Who you
had
going to
to.
give it to? Jack Twyman?
Jerry Lucas.
Jerry Lucas.
Jerry Lucas.
Oh, I'm
Well,
going to go.
well-
He was the original spot-up guy, and there were no threes, but he still went out there.
Lucas got his, but I mean, it was still, yes, he's very ball dominant, and he's the reason they won 54 or 5 games because he was, and that's the reason. I mean, exactly who should be ball dominant on the Dallas Mavericks that we've watched? I would say the answer would be nobody
Dwayne
else.
Powell? No.
No,
probably not.
I don't think so.
Probably not, but, think about it. No.
It's an interesting point you make about how young he is and how it seems like he's been around forever. Brandon Ingram is what, 24, 25?
Yeah, I think
It seems like he's played for decades.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like Brandon
What
Ingram's
has he
been
been
around
on? He's
forever?
been on 3 teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he started out, came out of college after the first year, was on one team, moved to another team. That always seems like it ages him in your mind. Well, he's been on 3 teams. He had to be in the league 9 years.
It seemed
and
like
even
he's-
now, if he
yeah.
was in 9 years, he's what, 27?
I know he didn't, but doesn't it seem like, he was with the Lakers for like 7 years? And it didn't
Yeah, he
work
won a
out.
couple titles. Him and Kobe. Yeah.
No. He didn't
Well,
win
it
any
is when
titles.
guys come in so young, at 19, like so many of them we're talking about, and of course teams. It's amazing how quick teams give up on guys. They're 19, and then by a couple of years they'll
Especially
say,
big guys, it seems like, yeah.
But it's like a guy like Ingram. Well, you could see that, there's a reason you took him second, Lakers.
Yeah.
You know,
Most of those guys picked second are really, really good.
Well-
So if you spend enough time with them, they'll probably produce, don't you think, Jer?
no, but I think there was reason to believe he was.
He would, yeah,
he would,
absolutely.
yeah.
But he
No.
had to find his niche too a little bit because he's
Sure.
a guy. I mean, he's a scorer, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to go ahead and give him that room to do that, and he didn't always get that.
He
No,
just
he
looks
wasn't-
like he's narcoleptic or something. He's just always like,
Why?
I mean, that's how he looks. Like, dude, are you high? He's always.
No, wait,
and he's a
narcoleptics
really
aren't
good
high.
player.
No, come on.
But there's.
We're going to get so many letters.
Oh,
We're not. Getting
Oh, wait, come on.
letters.
First of
Nobody
all,
writes-
narcoleptics
who
and then
writes letters?
people that are high
yeah,
and narcoleptics.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a great. Doesn't he look a little bit like sometimes like
He's a little sleepy, maybe.
Yeah, okay, that's
Like an
all.
Alex English did. He didn't. He was.
Yeah,
He kind of
yeah.
glided through
I
the
think-
world a
I
little
think,
bit.
there's probably a lot of scores that just kind of.
They have to keep an even keel. They can't afford to
I'm
get
talking
up and
about
down.
His eyes, actually his eyes.
Oh
I'm not
no!
talking
You're
about the
now
way he
you're
plays
getting.
it.
Oh, forget it.
Brandon Ingram,
no.
Duke
What?
University. Yeah.
What is the guy? The guy's
Hey, you-
taking a nap all the time.
You were just talking about not giving up too early on players.
That's
how
exactly
guys pick
right.
second are really good. I know we already talked a lot about this, but that gets us back to this Wiseman thing, because right now the
It
Warriors
does.
are in a situation where they got to look at that and decide whether, hey, he needs to be sent to the G League or something, or he's just not good. And I don't think he's ever going to be anywhere near as good as they hoped he would be.
Well, only thing I'd say there is that guy hadn't played any basketball. I mean, you just can't know what you don't know. And I mean, clearly he's been a disappointment, and I don't know how they find out, because they're trying to compete for something, but he needs to play.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, if you're not going to play him with the big team, get him to the
G-League?
JVs. I don't care. He's got to play, because you do have to make a decision at some point here pretty soon. I mean, and before, it could be another Marvin Bagley thing. You may have to cut your losses.
The curious thing about the pick to me was, here you have the Warriors, and we know that they've made small ball a thing, and they don't necessarily go out and they don't need a high-scoring center that you take with a high pick. And then with the second pick, they drafted Wiseman. It's like, why do you do that? You find centers other ways. Like Looney, Zaza was a really good center. So I don't know, philosophically, that was a bit of a departure for them, and we'll see. It may end up biting them right in the Heine, Phantom.
You don't have
Your
to get,
thoughts?
you don't have to get blue.
Right
Don't,
in the Heine.
Please do not work blue. Okay, so you're in that.
I'm
you're
Brandon
in that.
Ingram. It's good to be with you guys.
Yeah, I'm narcoleptic and I'm high. You're in that sphere. So why did they make that move? Why did they go ahead and grab a Wiseman?
Because again, they were thinking, well, we need superstars for the future, and we have it's a position of need. So this guy is the best player of the bunch. There's some thought. Some people say that LaMelo Ball was told the Warriors are drafting you.
Yes,
and
I
that
heard
he
that.
thought,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm going to go number 2, and he didn't. So I think maybe there was a split there, but who knows? Who knows?
Well, I hope it doesn't bite him in what you said.
In the Heine?
Yeah, I hope it.
Yeah.
But they also took the leap or whatever it was on Kuminga too, because they took him at a time where other people
Upside, yeah.
they went for upside. But I mean, I guess you can do that when you have the Warriors. But as we see, the Warriors may not be the Warriors again in
maybe
2
catching
years. So it's a quick turnaround.
Well, it certainly looked like they made some great moves, and that right now doesn't look like they're great
Yeah.
moves, and that's always the way. Everybody looks great on paper, on draft night and things like that, but to Whitey's point, I mean, would Franz Wagner look pretty good in a Golden State uniform?
Yeah, right now he has had some fine games.
Yes,
Yeah,
he has.
He has had some
I think
fine
he's a
games,
fine
yes.
young player, plays well without the ball, and as certainly in Orlando, he's going to have to learn to play without the ball a lot.
Yeah, that's the way it
They're
looks.
I don't know how they're 2-9, and I think they're
Yeah.
more talented than they.
Yeah, Banchero's been fantastic. I think
Yeah.
he's been head and shoulders the best rookie.
Of course, all their guards
And-
are out. They're playing. Yeah.
Well, they're kind of. I mean, Suggs has played a little bit lately.
Bull's like bringing the ball up.
Bull with the 97-foot wingspan. You can't literally cannot get around the guy.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
like I say that, I always say that Orlando, I think, they got 10 lottery picks on their roster, and they're 2-9, tells you a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, it does.
That
Exactly.
doesn't necessarily guarantee you great
yeah.
success.
Yeah. Against my better judgment, I'm going to try giving Phantom the spotlight here, because Phantom has an idea for like a feature. Yeah.
Well,
or a
I mean,
segment.
it was
segment,
something. I think
really,
a segment.
It kind of ties into what we were just talking
It's the
about.
what if segment.
Yeah.
I mean, is what it is. I mean, there's different reasons for what ifs, and it's something that sports fans like to do. We sit around and we go, what would have happened if Grant Hill didn't get an injury, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing. I'm saying you're all what if team as far as guys who didn't get to be what they could have been for whatever various reasons. And my guy, obviously I talk about Connie Hawkins all the time. He didn't get to play because of the court cases and everything. But
That's
I think
your guy. You're going back to that. You're playing that card again. Okay.
yeah, because he
like
would have revolutionized the
every 3
look
shows,
of the
Connie
NBA.
Hawkins
Yes.
is my guy.
Actually,
for
my-
whatever our feature is today, it's
Yeah,
Connie Hawkins
yeah.
is my
Who's
guy.
the most narcoleptic guy in the league? Well, I think it's Connie Hawkins, obviously,
Yeah.
because that's a thing now.
All
No,
right.
my guy is Bill Walton, because I think
Oh, okay.
Bill
Ooh.
Walton, I mean, obviously he and I went to college together, so we're old friends. He almost ran me over on his bike, which he apologized for later, so that was nice. But one of the great college players, probably the second greatest college player, maybe the third of all time, comes into the pros, has a great couple of years in Portland, wins a title, wins an MVP, and then off the cliff with injuries. And I really think that if he would have been healthy his entire career, it would not just be Kareem and Bill and Wilt. I think it would be 4 guys. I think it would be Bill Walton. I think he would have been that good. So that's my what if guy.
Nice.
What if Bill Walton would have been healthy his entire career? I think he would have been that good.
He was pretty good as it was, top 50. But I mean, you're absolutely right. Where he just
So you're coming at me now?
no, I'm not. I'm really just saying, that he would have been spectacular because even with all the injuries, he was a great player.
And the way he
then
played was so amazing.
in '77 when they won the championship, and they beat Philly in 6, and I was however old I was, like, oh, Portland's going to win in 6, and they did. Whatever. We don't need to go over that.
Yeah,
But-
let's revisit 45-year-old predictions. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a good idea for a segment too.
Whatever.
Jerry,
Yeah.
what did you say back in '62 that managed to come out?
But my point is this: the next year they were better than
Yeah,
they
they
had
were
been,
great.
and then he got hurt, and then
They
it all
got
fell
hurt.
apart.
All
But
fell
yeah,
apart.
They were
weren't
great.
They were even better.
No,
Jerry.
they were
I
definitely
think
better.
they were 50 and
Well,
10.
much like the Warriors team that won it as a surprise in '75. The next year they were much
73.
better.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, but Rick Barry decided he didn't
Oh,
want
that
to,
team. Yeah.
He didn't want to shoot it
Oh,
anymore.
right,
76.
76. Yeah,
76.
So that's my what if idea, because we talk about
Yeah,
all the time
that's
as
good.
sports fans, and you can pick different reasons that people didn't get to where they were, but that's one that I always think about, because
Okay.
I really think Bill
I
Walton
like
would have been an
that.
all-time.
I like
May I throw one out?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Jerry, are you sure?
We're not sure. But
Yeah. 2007, he was a ROY, and in fact, he was an ROY his whole life and still is, because he played like 4 really productive years, and then he hurt his left knee, hurt his right knee, and then he was done. I mean, he was a guy that was like on track to be a great player. After 4 years, he played a couple more years, but he was essentially done. Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy.
Oh,
Boy,
I
he
like
was-
where you're going there. I like
Yeah.
that.
See, ROI.
I know. I'm still thinking that over, and you just explained it. No,
Oh God.
But he was a great offensive player.
he really was.
From
I mean,
Washington.
Yeah. I mean, that guy was on track to be a top 5 guy in the league for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a multi-position, big, strong guy. I don't even know who you'd hardly compare him with.
I think he was like 6'6".
I think he's
shooting
6'5",
guard,
6'5", 6'6", yeah.
And he had a decent 3-point shot. And I didn't know this. He also had like a learning disability, which made it difficult for him to get into college. But then he had like an impingement in his left knee, and then later he had in his right knee, tore cartilage, and he got to the point where he was playing the old, bone on bone.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't play basketball.
Yeah. I'll bet you anything this. I don't know anything about the learning disability, but I'll bet you if he wasn't a really good basketball player, he'd have had a lot tougher time getting into college.
When you say he had, that's the first thing I thought of, Jerry. No, he did not have a tough time getting into college. He was Brandon Roy. Okay?
He struggled with his SAT. Let me put it that way.
I don't even think they came across the table, sir. To be honest with you, that's a great one. He was one. He was a great guy to root for too, and he became a great high school coach. And passing along his knowledge. But what a good one, yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't prep you on this. Do you have one you want to mention?
I do.
Okay, all right.
I do.
Of course, he's the basketball Google.
I know,
Encyclopedia.
but I just don't want to put him on the spot. Basketball encyclopedia.
He likes being put on the spot.
Yeah, I don't mind being put on the
Okay.
spot. All right. Okay.
That's what the show is all for.
I'm a
okay?
put on the spot
That's
guy.
we should call it put on the spot, Jerry.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, David Thompson, the Skywalker. I think a lot of young people don't realize that.
man.
I really believe that, without the some injuries and drug problems and issues, that David Thompson, obviously one of the great college players in the history
North
of the
Carolina
game,
State, yeah.
and the quickness and leaping ability still is almost unmatched.
Yeah, the fact that he couldn't dunk when he was in college is one of the worst rules that was ever
Yeah,
implemented.
yeah,
'Cause, he almost invented the alley-oop pass and just dropped
be
the ball.
alley-oop above the square.
Yeah.
See, what he did there was he picked a guy who beat your guy in college.
Yeah.
Remember
No,
that?
he picked David Thompson and I picked Bill Walton. It had nothing to do
Yeah,
with
well,
playing each other in
okay,
college.
sure.
I think
But
I let
yeah.
Bill Walton's stats stand for themselves. Thank you.
Yeah.
Why you got to pit people?
Well, I just think
Why
it's
you gotta pit
interesting
people?
that he did that.
Because he and I both have better ones than you have.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Monty Tao.
understand.
Remember, he had his little friend Monty Tao, and he would just throw him the lobs and
Monty Tao, Converse, Indiana, by the way.
really
Tom
okay.
Burleson, the great
Tom
Burleson,
Yep.
who I should have used as my what if.
I saw Tom get beat up in practice one day by Ron Boone in Kansas City.
Ron Boone, a guard, right?
But he was a Mitch Richmond like.
Oh,
Yeah.
You don't see those stocky guys.
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, he
So
was-
anyway, David Thompson, tell us more.
Well, I mean, he was just athletic among athletic people. I mean, he was just a notch above. And I always remember the story when he was in high school. There was John Lotz was assistant coach at North Carolina, and he was recruiting. I was in junior college and recruiting Bob McAdoo. But we were talking about guys, and I said, well, the best basketball player in Indiana was a guy named Mike Flynn, a guard,
I might know
and the
the
best
name.
player in Kentucky was a guy named Jimmy Dan Connor. And I said, man, those guys are something. He said, I'll tell you one thing. Neither one of them make a pimple on the butt of David Thompson, somebody nobody's heard of at that time. You know, he's from somewhere in a little North Carolina town. And I said, oh, come on. He can't be better
Not
than
better than Jim Dan
He can't
Connor.
be better
Come
than
on.
Jimmy Dan Connor.
Jimmy Dan Connor, JDC.
And then I always remember that I saw him play the first game I saw him play in college. And a week or so later, Lotz was up recruiting. I said, John, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that guy's pretty good.
Ooh, big difference.
I'm just looking up the scoring race, 1978, I think it was.
Jimmy Dan Connor and
No, it was. I'm sure you guys remember. I'm just looking for the details. David Thompson and George Gervin.
George Gervin, yeah.
Yeah. And
What did he have? 73, I think.
And then
Gervin, let's see, April 9th. Gervin needed 59 to win the NBA scoring title. And so, let's see. Yeah, he did that, but then Thompson played that night and scored 73 to win the scoring title. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of got. You think you got it sewn away, and then the guy throws 73 on you.
Yeah. So pretty good. Yeah. And I think with him, the drug issues perhaps had as much to do with it as
I'd say probably really
Yeah.
80% of it. You know, I mean, it just destroyed his body. You know, but you know, it's obviously a real shame because he I think he had the build potential to be a top 10 all time, and certainly wouldn't be in a top 200.
Yeah.
Based on just the shortened career that he had.
You hear the phrase, you may have made it up, you know, that guy can jump out of the gym. If anyone actually could
Yeah.
jump out of a gym, it would have been him.
I did make that up.
There he goes.
You're exactly right. Oh, is he going to come back? No, he's out of the gym now. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Go get Jim Dan Connor to take
Was
his
he
place.
the one that he could get a quarter off
Well,
the top?
no. They said that about guys. I hate to say this. Back in the day of the Connie Hawkins, he had a guy named Jackie Jackson he played with, and that was the original guy they said could go up, take the quarter, put 2 dimes in a nickel there, and then come back down. Jackie Jackson was that guy, not David Thompson.
Yeah, I always heard a lot of guys that could do that. I just never saw any.
Oh, dear.
Wait, he give
The
you a
legend.
change?
He would leave. He'd go up. He would take the quarter. and He would go ahead and leave.
Yeah,
you
they
change.
always say,
And he would have the thing is,
Yeah.
he would have the thing, the coin
change,
thing on the
yeah.
side, and he'd
Yeah.
go ahead and make it, and then he'd put it up there, and then he'd go, I think I'll go down, and then he went down.
Yeah.
I mean, people saw him do it.
If I had a dollar for every guy that could take a dollar off the top of the backboard, I'd have retired when I was 50.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
For a guy who supposedly could.
I don't know that
Yeah.
he could have changed the dollar while he was up there, Jerry. I know he could have done a quarter. Okay?
All right. So you're saying that's probably apocryphal about David Thompson.
It
that
is,
actually
but
did
he
that.
could. He probably could have. He just wasn't the first
Well,
guy. If anybody could, it would have been David Thompson.
I will remember a statement, and I think very, very strong statement from a guy that I thought was a quite good player, excellent jumper, named Bill Russell.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I've heard of him.
You know, somebody said, boy, so-and-so could take a dollar off the top or a quarter off the top of the backboard. He said, well, I'll tell you one thing. I couldn't, so I know damn well he couldn't.
Well, if you're gonna throw water on the whole thing, then forget it.
So
Did he say? Is that about David Thompson?
he did not say it about David, but David didn't say that.
Yeah. So what's
Pre-David
Bill at
Thompson.
6'9", and he's a high jump champion.
6'9",
So he,
6'9"
So I
and a
think
half.
he probably would be
Yeah,
a guy that you
yeah.
think would be able to do it. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up here with the old-fashioned three, pardon me, from A to Z. Where are we now? I know you had some issues with
I
this
had some
last
issues
time.
with not the players, the alphabet.
but you worked
'Cause
it
I
out,
really
yeah.
wasn't, and
Yeah.
I've done some studying.
So it's tough to change the alphabet.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was around when it started, so I'll tell you.
Okay, do you want to go
We'll
first?
go.
Or we
Yeah,
all
I'll go first because
Okay.
mine is not.
Connie Iokins.
Yes, I am. Bill Alton. A guy that, Jerry, you and I have mentioned a couple times. I know with there's not very many players, but there's a couple of great ones. But we talked about Wiseman today, and a guy that's kind of like that. We talked about the Magic, Jonathan Isaac. Because he's a guy that you and I both have talked about a couple times because he comes out of college as 6'11",
Yep.
projects as a 4, and if he gets the outside shot, I mean, he's incredibly athletic, can handle the ball and everything, comes into the league, has an okay rookie year, has some injuries. Finally, by about the third year, he's like, okay, I'm in the zone now. He has a great beginning to the season, then he has the knee injury, and I don't even think he's ever gotten back on the floor since then.
hasn't. No.
But it illustrates not only he was a great player, and you don't know, but that the whole draft thing. I mean, here's a guy that I think he was taken in the 5th spot. Most people would have taken him in the 5th spot or higher. And it just shows that it's one of the you never know things, because he may not ever get back on the floor, or he may get back on the floor and really contribute to that Orlando team. But that's part of the reason why you have 10 lottery picks, because a couple of them just don't do what you think they're going to do. And here's a guy that I've watched since he came in the league. I was kind of rooted for the guy, because he was the guy I would have picked in that spot, and he just hasn't been able to get on the floor and hasn't been able to do what he's supposed to do.
No, terrific talent, I think. I mean, or was.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Really has star quality about him, like you say, 6'10" or 11, long, could play 3 or 4.
Yep.
Really a stretch. I mean, and so, but there you are.
Yeah. If you remember your stories from the Bible, which for some reason I remember this, I think it was Ruth was the wife of Abraham, and the angel came to Ruth and said, "You're going to bear him a son."
Okay.
And she's like, "Dude, I'm like 50." Ha 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 ha. She laughed. So she did, and they named the child Isaac, which means laughter. So hopefully Jonathan Isaac will have the last laugh. I'm Whitey Gleason.
Whew. Okay, I have the what if segment. You have the Bible segment now?
Well, it's just every time I hear the name Isaac, I think of that.
Yeah.
Ha, 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 ha. She's like,
Hopefully.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, she did. My guy would be a player that, to be honest, I did not fully appreciate when he was around, because, again, my thing, that guy shoots all the time. I can't stand guys that shoot all the time.
You really have a lot of hate for people, don't you?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
In therapy?
He was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East, and he led the league in steals, I think, a time or two. And I never appreciated him because of the way he played, but now looking back, I appreciate that he played so freaking hard. He almost single-handedly dragged a team to the NBA Finals. He was at the forefront of the introduction of hip-hop becoming as prominent as it is today in the NBA culture as Allen Iverson. And yeah. Because I always looked at him, and that guy's just a gunner. Remember when C. Webb got traded to Philly, and then they came back to play the Kings for the first time, and Iverson and C. Webb's Philly teammates, like, they're going to set him up, like he's going to have a big night. Iverson was so good that night as a distributor. And I just saw there's very few guys, if any, who played as hard as he did. I'm just wondering if you guys remember, and I looked it up. I don't know if I would have got them both. Other than Philly, do you know the 2 teams Allen Iverson played with? He ended up retiring because he's like, I'm not coming off the bench. You want me coming off the bench? I'm not coming off the bench.
Memphis was one.
One. He only played 3 games with them.
And we saw one of them. One of them was here.
It actually was Denver, Philly, Memphis. There was one other team.
Really?
He played like 53 games. The Memphis one, that's great. Yeah, we saw one of the games he played, right? Yeah. He briefly was a Detroit Piston.
Is that right?
For like 50-something games.
Huh.
Yeah.
Second greatest point guard in Piston history.
Dave Bing?
Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
That Isaiah. I mean,
Dave
Dave
Bing?
Bing?
Dave Bing's a Hall of Famer.
First of all, I thought that was a decent guess, but secondly, no. No, you're right, Jerry.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a
Howie Comives, maybe?
Oh,
Butch
I love
Comives.
Out of Bowling
Called
Green?
him Butch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin Porter was a distributing machine.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
already
Anyway,
did Dave Bing.
so Allen Iverson,
Great one.
I did not fully appreciate. And the whole thing about practice, talking about practice, he was still getting over like the death of a friend or something, and everyone made fun of it, and he was not in a good place there. So Allen Iverson, I'm learning to appreciate you. Thank you for all you did for the NBA.
Oh, great player. I always remember I saw him play his first college game. Yes.
Sacramento, right?
No,
Okay.
it was in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
Georgetown playing University of Memphis. And, you'd heard about him, as a high school, all this or all that, and one of those deals. And, and over the years, you seen a bunch of those guys.
Yeah.
And you'd say, hey.
You have to wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, he might, he could be good.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, when that first game I saw, that guy's like, holy cow!
Really?
I mean, this is the level of quickness and intensity.
Just nonstop, huh?
Oh my! It just took your breath away. I mean, he was just, you had other athletes, highly recruited athletes on the floor.
And he's not a big guy; he's a little guy.
He looked awful big to them.
Yeah, he moves real fast.
He was so dominant.
Yeah.
And just, I'd never seen that much. I don't think that much quickness, before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his quickness was just breathtaking. Of course, you saw it prove out in the pros, of course.
Would he had problems in today's NBA now? Today, the way they're calling the carry.
zero.
Or you mean this
actually
week
made
they're calling the carry?
It made him better.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd been better in today's game.
Yeah, I apologize, but I know he played with Georgetown early in his college
They were
career.
in
Actually
a tournament.
played
They were in
in
a tournament out here.
at Sac State,
Yeah.
so that's why I asked about that.
Oh.
Yeah. But all right. So we got.
I forgot my guy, but it's Jonathan Isaac. I was so into Allen Iverson. I was
feeling
love
bad that
guy.
I forgot it, but
I was
you
going to say
forgot
Dave
it.
Bing, but that would have been me.
Dave Bing was awesome. And Allen Iverson and
We open it up.
Coach, the Basketball Encyclopedia, take us home.
The spotlight's
Okay.
on you, sir.
Well, I can't top Allen Iverson. No, I can't Isaac, but that.
Isn't that the way?
But Dan Issel.
That's still pretty good.
Hall of Famer, great scorer, really kind of an early version of what we see with centers now. Big guys who could shoot.
Yeah.
He really was a perimeter shooter and obviously could rebound well. Not the most athletic guy, but not a non-athlete. And, of course, I remember
6'9" or so, 6'9",
6'9" at the most, and the finest player to ever come out of Batavia, Illinois. I'm pretty sure of that.
Is it close?
I'm going to let it
Is
slide
it close?
for now.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a guy number 2's over there going, "What about me, Jer?"
Well, yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't
but
know.
Anyway,
Batavia.
Kentucky Colonels, ABA, right? An
Kentucky
ABA
Colonels.
legend.
That's out of college, out of University of Kentucky. He went to play for the Colonels. Obviously, had an outstanding ABA career. Then, of course, really most of his great years were in Denver with the Nuggets of Doug Moe and Alex English and Fat
Crazy
Lever and those guys, and just a fun team to watch. And boy, could they score, and could he score?
Yeah.
And so Dan Issel, kind of one of those guys that's not a top 100 guy, but not too far behind.
Well, I think he might be a top 100 guy.
Well,
you might
could
in the
make
Hall of Fame.
You could
Yeah.
make the case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't choose
Right,
to.
right around there. Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah.
he it's one of those guys that but he's not in that upper echelon, and I don't think he should be a top 70.
but he's great. Yeah,
But he was a great player for a lot of years.
Yeah, towards the end of the ABA when it was all falling apart, he was with, of course, that great Colonels team. The 75 Colonels team was a great team, coached by Hubie Brown. But they were John Brown was trying to, save money. So they sent him to a team that never actually played a game called the Baltimore Claws. Dan Issel was traded to the Baltimore Claws, and they never played, and the owners had no money, and they ended up getting shut down, and that's when he got shipped to the Denver Nuggets. That's how he ended up.
Worked out
isn't
pretty well
that
for
something,
him,
though?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like Dominique Wilkins got basically sold to the Hawks for John Drew and some money because the Utah Jazz were about to go under, and now you got these franchises worth $1 billion when we'll trade you a star for a really good player if you'll give us $100,000.
Yeah, whole different ball game.
Yeah.
League Pass. In the past, the League Pass, they've had their free previews. Now you get a 7-day trial, I think, if you go online, whenever you want it. So who are you guys, like, your favorite teams right now on League Pass to watch?
Well, I mean, since you need
I had a heck of a time last night with all the games. Like, who am I going to watch?
Well, first of all, obviously my Pacers. But I think
Sure, that's a good one.
Right now, I think I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies. My man Ja and the rest of them, and like we've talked about a bunch of times, it's just nice. It's just fun to watch them play as a team. So they had the superstar.
Lost to the
but they also
Celtics
play as a
last night. I'm just saying.
Well, most teams lose games. I mean, maybe Jerry, you can back me up on this, but not a lot of teams win every game. I know it's happened a couple of times.
I don't believe it ever has in the NBA.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll say give it to you on that one. But yeah, so I like watching the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, for me, and it's tough because I love watching Orlando, but they're not that good. I love watching the Pelicans right now.
Oh, no, come on.
No,
What is
I
it with
love
the
Alvarado.
narcolepsy?
Is fun to watch, and
Yeah.
Zion. We talked about it in the summer. Boy, if that works out, they could be a really good team, and it seems to be coming together for them. They're very talented, and I love that also Murphy and Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Murphy's good.
Yeah, and Brandon Ingram, as you said a few weeks ago, he may be better than Durant. So New Orleans is my team that I love watching on the League Pass right now. Yeah.
Wow.
They're really fun to watch. They're one of my favorites, but they're not my top two. That I just, for whatever reason, I just love to watch Milwaukee because they play so hard and they're they got the best player in the
Yeah,
world,
the best guy,
and
right,
the
yeah.
best teammate, and the best defender. You know, just so I love watching them
Because they do it the right way, and you have probably a greater appreciation for that than we do. It's like, yes, that's what I've been trying to tell
He's
him.
seen it done
That's
the
how
wrong
you
way
play
a few
basketball.
times. Yeah.
I know about the wrong way, and so I feel like I'm an expert. in
Yeah,
some certain
You've
areas.
seen every way the wrong way.
That's it.
You've
Nope.
seen all the wrong
This
ways.
ain't the right way. That's the right way. And I have seen it the right way.
Yes, you have.
But
Of course
I mean,
you have.
become sadly more of an expert in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And the other team is I like to watch that ball dominant guy in Dallas.
Okay.
You didn't want to say that to him, did you?
No,
Because it
I
hurts
know.
his feelings.
No, he
know,
loves
I-
saying it to him.
yeah.
I mean, it's like yeah, they're a good team. They're fun to watch, mainly because he is so good.
Mm-hmm.
He just amazing to me. A little bit like I say, as an old cynical fart like that I am. He kind of gives me flashbacks to Oscar in his play, where he just gets places he wants to go. Just
Right.
takes his time, overpowers smaller guys, and just kind of you think, how did he get to the basket and lay it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, how do you get to that little step back in there? It's like, and Oscar used to do that, and you just work guys and thank you, I'll take this 12-footer. Oh, that's a little too far. I want an 8-footer.
So I'm going to just back my way in and get my 8-footer.
when he's as efficient as he's been so far this year with a high shooting percentage, I can't find fault with him. I have to admit, there have been times this year when I've seen him do things where I thought, man, I haven't seen anybody do that since the great Dave Bing. So,
Holy cow.
I was going to ask you another question, Jerry, but I think it's best if we
No,
just
you
stop
sure?
the
Yeah,
entire
yeah,
show.
yeah.
And when I mean the
And-
show, I mean,
and I mean
Hall of Famer.
and he is an excellent. Dave Bing was really good.
yeah.
he was
you
the
know-
mayor of Detroit, too.
No, he was.
Yes.
He was really good. He's probably kind of a Devin Booker of his day.
Sure.
That's high praise. There you
Yeah.
go. Very
Yeah.
well done.
And
Yeah. Man, he's trying hard to make you look good, but it's just not working. Jerry. He's just not
Working
working.
overtime.
Yeah, working way overtime.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Taking
well.
care of business, working overtime.
Thanks for watching the old-fashioned 3.
yeah, bless your heart for staying tuned.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.